Hi everyone and welcome to the review on the newly released 1/6 scale figure by Hot Toys. This is Ellen Ripley from the 1979 classic film Alien. This is Ellen right here, say hi. And here we have the original Alien Big Chap. This was released by Hot Toys some years back. This is the creature that belongs with this figure from this particular movie. And over here we have the Alien Warrior, just over here to the left. The drone soldier kind of alien that would do all the work for the Queen and the rest of the Hive from the second movie. So just included this here so you can get a bit of a reference and just see the differences between them. We'll get a much closer look at these two later on in the review. There's some things I want to say about each one of these releases and things that I hope Hot Toys bloody pay attention to and fix for future versions of the Xenomorph, because they came pretty close with this guy but they screwed up the damn mouth. Everything on him is really well done. All the material was used really well suited to this, but we'll get to that later. And again, with the rubber mouth and the rotting rubber, it's so close, but just is the really important part of the alien is his mouth area, and they totally bloody screwed it up on that one. This one, he's all pretty much rubber, so it's only a matter of time before he disintegrates into nothing. But Ellen Ripley herself, very well made. We're going to get into a nice in-depth review of her and see what she's all about, so stick with me. I'll include some photography and some rotating base stuff. Everything I hope you want to see. So anything I do miss in the review, you can always go ahead and let me know in the comment section. I can always cover for you in a future vid. But this should do the job. Alright, let's get stuck in to Ellen Ripley. Now before we get too stuck in, I thought I'd just give you a little pan up and down of the pose I've started her off in. I've got her holding everything really. She's holding her the carrying case for the Jonesy the cat, who is also in the box. Tracking device and the flamethrower is just slung over her shoulder there. But I think yeah, it's a great head sculpt, and they went with sculpted hair obviously, and I think in this case it worked out well. I'll just briefly share my thoughts about the latest Alien movie by Ridley Scott, the guy who I thought was going to come back and save just the xenomorph creature from some of the goddamn terrible stuff we've had to endure over the past decade and longer than that. But Alien Covenant was something I was very kind of wary of as it was being released. I mean, the trailers kind of looked good, but one thing I knew, and I don't mean to seem like a dick by saying this, but one thing I knew I didn't like about the movie the second I saw this person in the film, and I had never seen her in anything else before, but the moment I saw the character Daniels, played by Catherine Waterston, or Waterson, whatever the hell her name is, I did not like her, and I just got to be honest about that. Something about her squished little face just kind of wound me up, and I just thought, I'm not going to be able to get along with this film if I have to look at that chick's face for too long. Hopefully they'll kill her off quickly. Nope. She was this cheap, desperate attempt to kind of remind us of Ripley. We didn't need that. We've already had Ellen Ripley. We didn't need some cheap knockoff, not even halfway there attempt to kind of bring that back. I don't know, I found it really desperate. Like, I don't know if that was Ridley Scott's decision or the film studio, like the company coming down on his shoulders saying, you have to have a strong female character. Just, you know, I felt the whole thing was utterly cringeworthy. And then when the Xenomorph finally did appear on screen and did its little dance in front of David, I don't know, man. Gotta be honest, I mean, my gut tells me just say it's shit. So it probably is shit. But the classic original 1979 film, I friggin' love it. It's one of my favourite films of all time. It's my favourite of the Alien movies, followed closely by the second one, Aliens, which is also fantastic. Gotta give full respect to the second movie for all the spectacular work that Stan Winston and his crew did. To this day, and just like with the original Predator, to this day still looks unbelievably good. So there's my brief thoughts on Alien Covenant. I thought it was pretty much crap. I did buy it on Blu-ray because I fell in love with the sexy little steel tin that HMV were doing as an exclusive. I like my steel books for my Blu-rays, and I thought, well, I might as well grab the film. Maybe one day it will grow on me more. I think I like Prometheus more. I'm not a Prometheus fan, but if I had to pick between the two, having a xenomorph in Covenant did not help me like that film. So I don't know, and it's a shame because I used to think to myself, you know what, let me just there's nothing worse than just staring at the same thing for ages while someone talks and talks and talks, so let me just move this around every now and then. I thought Ridley Scott was going to come back and do something really bold and brave, and if anyone could take it back to where it was with that original movie, I thought Ridley Scott could do it, but he just missed the mark so heavily as far as I was concerned. So who knows what's going to happen now. He's doing one more movie, we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to stop boring you now, and let's get into the in-depth stuff. Let's start getting a look at Ripley here and having a look at her details. I want to see underneath the jumpsuit and see what this shirt looks like, because I've seen some pictures on Sideshow Freaks with the shirt exposed, and it was actually quite detailed. I was surprised about that. So let's get stuck in, and apologies again for my ramblings.
Emergency destruct system is now activated. The ship will detonate in T-minus 4 minutes.
Alright, so we're going handheld now. For anything where I'm going to be moving around the figures and getting close up, I'm using my Samsung Galaxy S8 Edge Plus, or whatever it's called. And for the tripod based stuff, I'm going to be using the Sony CyberShot. Now I'm going handheld because I want to talk briefly and get it out of the way about my issues with the Alien figures by Hot Toys. Now, the big chap over here, he has plastic parts, obviously his dome. I believe this part here is like a hard plastic. The tubes at the back, the hands, the feet, the tail, but the actual whole bodysuit itself is like a rubber. And over time, this is definitely, it's not ripping or rotting away just yet, but it has lost, you can see there, I mean, it's lost a lot of its kind of paint job over time. I mean, the torch from the camera is shining right at it, but as I sort of come back further away, it just, something about this figure isn't really holding up. You can see on the top lip there how the paint is kind of chipped away, and but that's an older figure, so maybe you can forgive it. And we are kind of expecting them to drop the 2.0 version of this, which I would be up for. They need to do with the body for this one what they did for the Aliens version. This is a totally different kind of material. This will probably stand the test of time. It's very tough. It does hinder articulation, but most importantly, it does look good, and it's not going to rot away. And that is completely from head to toe, apart from the same kind of hard plastic parts like the hands, the feet, the tail, and the top of the head here. But then they went and screwed it up by making, and this is like the softest rubber I think they've even used for an Alien. It's so soft and squishy. I love that word squishy. You probably noticed that by now. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Let me just see if I can get some focus. I want to get up really close so that there's no denying. You can see the little black marks on the top lip here. If I can just get my finger to go in the right place. Yeah, see there? The way it's, it's kind of cracking or something. That's because the rubber they've used is so flimsy. What Hot Toys really need to start doing is carry on the way they've done this. I like it. The way the suit is designed. I know it does, like I say, hinder the articulation a bit, but it's going to stand the test of time, and it looks fantastic. They can apply paint really well to this. And as you can see, the paint job on the Alien Warrior is incredible. But what they need to do is completely scrap this whole rubber soft section here. Take this all away. Make this hard plastic. Give us the closed mouth like we have here. But give us a bottom jaw. This section here comes out again, hard plastic, and then you've got an open mouth version that you can click into place. Again, hard plastic, no more soft cracking and rotting rubber. It needs to change seriously, and I think the interchangeable hard plastic mouth parts would be the way to go for that, because this figure did cost a fair bit of money. They all do, and this should not be happening. I'm afraid to even go near this thing now. It doesn't look so bad on camera, but when I look at it in person, I don't know, I'm just having a bit of trouble getting it to focus. But you can see above the top lip how that rubber is, it hasn't really gotten any worse over time just yet, but I don't want to have to look at that, and it does make it look ugly. There are sort of things you can use to paint over this to kind of seal it and permanently keep it from getting any worse. But that's what I think they should do. Interchangeable hard plastic mouth parts in order for you to have the two looks between the closed mouth, take out the bottom jaw, put in the new one, and then you've got the open mouth version. And you can even put in an interchangeable long tongue section as well. You need to get rid of the soft rubber because it does not work. Well, that's a pretty epic shot right there. It's a cool thing about going handheld for this and being able to do all the different angles and such. That looks pretty epic. Now we're going to get a nice look at the sculpt on Ellen Ripley's hair and the face itself in a moment. But I just wanted to bring your attention to the cool layering effect that Hot Toys did with this hair. If you look, there's loads of these little sections. See, there's a little section there, and another little section here that lifts up, here, and let's see, yeah, that's all one little bit there. But it's not just one solid clump of hair. There is loads. See how it splits apart there? You've got two little sections here, and then underneath a final sort of layer of hair. But yeah, not just one solid chunk plonked onto the head sculpt. It's really cleverly done. So I do like the hair. I've got to say I'm pretty glad they did go with the sculpted hair on this actual figure, so I think it all worked out well. But as far as the likeness to Sigourney Weaver from 1979, I do believe it is very strong on this. I'm very happy with it. Just zoom in a bit for you. Great kind of freckly kind of details on the skin like usual. Again, Hot Toys have opted to show the teeth a little bit on this one. I wish they hadn't of. That's the one thing I kind of wish they had done, just close the mouth and just give us that, just a straight face. And it is a straight face, and she is just kind of staring forward, slightly looking up. So I guess you want to tilt the head forward about that much in order to get her looking right at you. There is a kind of no neck appearance syndrome that she kind of goes through a little bit. Maybe that's because of the sort of double collar situation going on here, but obviously she does have a neck, you can see it. I just find sometimes when I look at her, she just looks a little bit no neckish. Is that a term? I don't think so. But yeah, they did a great job sculpting the hair, and I think they did a fantastic job on the head sculpt itself with a really, really good likeness. Coming at it from underneath like this, you can really see it. It's very strong from this angle, and from the side as well. You can see, yeah, I give the head sculpt a 9. I think it's a really, really, really good one. And Sigourney Weaver certainly has a very kind of distinctive sort of bone structure, I guess you'd call it, especially with the jaw. I think they did a damn good job. Alright, it's time to change up the pose. Let's get some action happening. Let's get this kind of top half of the jumpsuit pulled down, and let's get a look at the white shirt underneath. But yeah, we'll get another look at the head sculpt. I'm going to take it off the body and really get up close, hold it in my hand, get some good lighting. We'll have one last look at the head sculpt a little bit later. Let's get some poses happening. Let's see some different looks. Alright guys, I've got the top half of the jumpsuit down, revealing the shirt underneath. And as far as body type goes for Sigourney Weaver, I guess they went with the best choice they could. Obviously the elbows are pretty damn unsightly, but I don't think they ever really intended for you to display her like this. But then again, they did go to the trouble of, is the stuff on the side of her arm here? I'm not sure if there's meant to be another Nostromo patch there, but she's got all her little pen holding little flaps there. The pockets may actually work. Let's see. Yeah, they actually are pockets. There's a little logo on here. Let me just straighten that up for you. I think, is that it? Is that all the sort of insignia that's on the shirt? I'm not too sure, movie accurate wise, how much is meant to be on the shirt, but you do get some spare buttons there in case some of these come off, so that's always handy. And obviously she's got a kind of green t-shirt underneath. That seems all well and good. Oh, and there is a little same thing that, who was it who I recently got? Was it? Oh, that was it, Jin Erso. Oh, Ginny over there. There she is, looking up to the sky. And yeah, she had the same kind of plastic kind of sheet underneath her top to protect the body underneath from staining. So I guess I'll just leave that there. I did remove it with Jin Erso, but I'm going to leave it here on Ripley. But just so you can see some angles. I think she's leaning forward slightly and just straighten her up. But yeah, it's a nice job on the shirt. I will be displaying her, you know, as she came out of the box with the jumpsuit fully pulled up. Yeah, it's quite tightly fitted to her, the jumpsuit. I found it quite tricky to pull it over her shoulders to get it down. It wasn't that tricky, but not as easy as I thought. So, there you go. Just one last close-up look, just so you can see. Again, it's very nicely done. And it is another display option if you can maybe, I don't know, swap out the body. But as far as I know from all the Wonder Woman by Hot Toys situation with people trying to find a fire scene body, or TB League, whatever you want to call them, a body that suits her skin tone for the head sculpt, seems to be damn impossible. So I don't know if you're going to be able to find a fire scene body that's going to match Ripley, especially because most of those fire scene bodies are quite porn star-esque. Even the small breast versions are quite, you know, porny. So I don't think that would suit Miss Sigourney Weaver at all. No. Best to leave her as she is. Some people were saying that she's a bit too short. I'll do a height comparison. I think she probably would be. Sigourney is quite a tall lady. But it's close enough. Alright, let's get the jumpsuit back up, as those elbows are bothering me. Just got in a little pose where she's coming down the corridor and she's looking at the motion tracker. Hopefully, at least if I've lined up the eyes. Well, she's kind of looking at it. The arm kind of keeps... It's not like the joints are loose, but it does kind of slowly... Well, sort of... That kind of tends to happen. But yeah, she's going for the old observing the tracker as she's walking down the corridor. And let's just be clear about this. You do not get this backdrop with Ripley. You get that backdrop with the Alien Warrior. Hello! And this is also part of the backdrop that you get with the... Did I say Alien Warrior? Just then, it felt like I said the Alien Warrior. I mean the big chap, if I did say Alien Warrior. This is the big chap. That's the Alien Warrior. The difference is... Cameron ripped off the dome because it would cause too much trouble and keep cracking, and they'd have to keep replacing it and stop filming and stuff. So apparently he just walked up when they were in the special effects studio putting these together and just ripped off the dome and said, that's the way I want it. That's not at all disrespectful to HR Geeker's work, is it? Anyway. But yeah, she looks great. But yeah, you don't get a backdrop with Ripley. You just get the base that she stands on here and the flamethrower, the tracker, Jonesy the cat in her little carry case here. We'll get to Jonesy the cat in a minute, don't worry. But yeah, there's a little pose for you. She's just walking down the corridor. Nice little display option. Utilizing the accessories there. You could always pop Jonesy there by her feet. Not too bad. I like it. Alright, now some of you guys wanted to see the NECA version of this particular Ripley. alongside the Hot Toys one. So obviously it's night and day. It's not fair to compare these two. I'm just showing you the differences between them. One's very bloody expensive and 1/6 scale. One is very affordable and 1/10 scale. Is it 10th scale? I have no idea. She's a lot smaller and a lot less detailed, but I do really like this figure by NECA. The one thing I didn't like about it was the paint job they did on her eyes. I mean, it kind of isn't really a paint job. It's just two black blobs in the center of her eyes. But, you know, they did a good job with the outfit. The flamethrower is pretty good. The trainers are just basically all one color, whereas the Hot Toys ones are accurate and have the red line, the black line, that sort of thing. There is a color difference between the two jumpsuits. NECA went with more of a kind of I'm not too clued up when it comes to my specific color names, but I'm going to call that a light blue, and I know I'm wrong. I'm not going to call that gray because it ain't gray and it ain't blue neither. But that's the color that is. The camera is being true to the color that the actual suit is. You know how sometimes when you're filming something, it doesn't really represent the true color of what I'm actually seeing, but this time you are actually seeing the true color. So that's how they look. Quite different. Let's do a head sculpt comparison. There you go, just for shits and giggles. There's the two of those side by side. So yeah, that's NECA Ripley. That's Hot Toys Ripley. And there's some NECA alien eggs as well. They are too small. They are not in scale with 1/6 scale figures, but they're not that kind of ridiculous looking. I mean, depends how clued up you are about the movies. The average person who's probably just seen this film once or twice in their life might not clock it, but those of us in the know, we can see that these are way too small. But just so you can see what they look like, there's your NECA alien eggs with a Hot Toys Ripley. Just changed up the pose again while I talk about something that I just wanted to make sure I mentioned briefly about the original film and Sigourney Weaver's performance in the movie. I think with any kind of horror film or, kind of creepy sci-fi movie, I think it's really important that you choose someone who can convey fear, like extreme fear for your life, in a very convincing way. And when you go back and watch Alien, especially the third act, from when, Ripley finds herself alone on that ship and, alone, apart from Jonesy, of course. But when she, and it makes me wish that they kind of gave you a second option to have the look where she tied her hair back, for that sort of third act of the movie. But she was terrified, and I so believe it every time I watch it. I'm thinking back in my head as I'm saying this to you now, picturing her kind of coming up the stairway, when you see her hand kind of come up and then her eyes come up where she's being really cautious. She's dripping with sweat, the light's going crazy, the whole Nostromo is sounding off, the alarm that the self-destruct sequence has been initiated. She just seems so terrified, and honestly, I can't say enough good things about Sigourney Weaver in the movie. Just that whole third act, she's so convincingly petrified, and every time I see it, it just gives me chills, and I just think to myself, that is one hell of a performance. Ridley Scott must have been just beaming with glee from behind the monitors when they were filming it, because apparently he gave her quite a hard time in the beginning and kind of shouted at her a couple of times, saying, I don't want to have to give you motivation to pick up a fucking teacup. That was one of the lines that I remember, but apparently he didn't actually mean to say that to Ripley. He actually wanted to say it to John Hurt, but he didn't have the guts, so he said it to Ripley, or Sigourney Weaver instead. But yeah, just wanted to say, I think the way Sigourney Weaver conveyed her fear towards the end of the movie, especially when she's in the shuttle with the alien, just incredible. So just wanted to say that. And there's the alien behind her. That's a pretty nice shot right there. I just wish all this crap wasn't in the way. I wish this background was a lot wider. Obviously that's not really practical when it comes to boxing it up and getting the figure to you, but it always bugs me when you get these really narrow backgrounds, because you can put it in portrait mode and it's fantastic, but sorry about that. But if you try to shoot landscape like this, it just doesn't really, it kills the illusion. But still looks pretty sick. Yeah, just take a look at some of the detail on the flamethrower. Really nice kind of weathering paint effects. Even on the actual, what do you call it, gas cylinder or whatever, the red one. You can see where the paint's kind of chipped away there. That's really nicely done. all the dirt and grime on the flame thrower itself. Really well done. I do like that. There's that one exposed wrist joint there. Obviously the watch covers that one great. This one you're either going to have to live with it, or I'm probably going to find a little bit of white kind of bandage like material, just a little bit, and just wrap it around her wrist. No biggie, but it will cover up that one single visible joint that kind of kills things a little bit for me, especially when everything else is so seamless. When you do get that one hideous joint right there, your eye does go right to it, bang, and it's just kind of unsightly. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that soon. Alright guys, so here is Jonesy, the controversial accessory that Ripley comes with. The tail, the way it attaches there, that horrible seam, I don't see why that was a necessary thing. I mean, Hot Toys have done some incredible work in 1/6 scale and in 1/4 scale, and probably a few other scales as well. Why couldn't they just make the tail part of the sculpt? That line is kind of hideous to look at. Let me just get that in focus for you. But the actual face of the cat, the eyes, catch the light quite well, but they do have the appearance of just being black, kind of like a great white shark, just soulless eyes. It doesn't remind me of Jonesy. I can see Jonesy in my head as I'm saying this to you now. I've seen the film so many damn times, I've got like a photographic memory of it, and that does not look like Jonesy. That is bloody terrible. But you might have seen it already in the video, I might have shown it earlier, but there was a photograph where Ripley was trying to coax Jonesy into the carry case, and Jonesy's facing this way, Ripley's kneeling in front of him, and then behind Ripley the alien lurks. So that was a pretty cool picture, and Jonesy looks fine from this angle. Maybe turn it a little bit that way so that hideous bloody tail joint doesn't show. Shame on you, Hot Toys, for that. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, because I pay money for these figures just like you. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and that is unacceptable. What the hell is that? Looks like it's taken a dump. So it's that or nothing, because yeah, it's just, I mean, look, even its bottom jaw is a separate piece that's been stuck on. Even that is shoddy as hell. Oh, look at his little pink little feet. See, look, why put that much detail into underneath of the damn cat, but screw up on essentials like the tail being seamless and its bottom jaw being a seamless part of its head? I don't know, but there it is what it is, and it ain't very good. But once Jonesy is in the actual carry case, and you're looking at it from pretty much the only angle you can look at the cat once it's in this little box, that actually looks really good, because you can't see all the really shoddy, lazy aspects of it. So when it's in this carry case, this angle I think does look very convincing for a 1/6 scale cat in a carry case. So, and you'll be seeing it from above as well. It still looks pretty sick. And you've probably seen already the pictures I took where the alien was coming in. Very curious to look at the cat inside. So yeah, like this, it looks fine, but out of the carry case, just on display, I wouldn't recommend it. Alright, let's get a look at the detail on this motion tracker. I do really like this. I love the kind of last minute homemade kind of look of the whole thing. There is the, let's see, have they actually put any kind of, no, there's no little blip on there to kind of make it look like the alien is close by, but the detail is nicely done. Looks nice and weathered and old, put together with old beat up parts. That's pretty sweet. By the way, this base that I'm using here is the Big Chap base, and as you can see, the Big Chap stand did not have a nameplate, nor did it have a actual rod or stand or groin grabber, whatever you want to call it. Basically, what these two bases have, the Ripley base and the Alien Warrior base from Aliens, they both have a stand, and the original Big Chap base has none of that, and seems to be a slightly lighter or less vibrant paint job as well. The Ripley one seems to be the darkest, and the Alien Warrior pretty much exactly the same paint wise, but they're the same sculpt, same paint, same everything really, just reused. I guess it's not too bad as long as they keep them uniformed, but it's another reason for them to go back and do a 2.0 with the Big Chap. They need to sort the Big Chap out as it is, to be honest, because the whole rubber body is not going to hold up over time. and he's got, I don't know, you know, he's got issues, and the base needs updating. So yes, but there you go. There's your motion tracker. Very nicely done. No complaints with that. This is all plastic, hard plastic, apart from, yeah, that's plastic. And this little bit here, it's like a soft, tubey type situation. But yeah, I like it. It does the job just fine. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Alright, got her on the rotating base just so we can get a good look at the outfit. The tailoring is very well done. It's making me think of a corset. It looks like she's got some kind of like a zip effect, although I very much doubt these are actual zips on the figure. I think they're just like little tassels, just to keep it movie accurate. But that is actually some string action going on there. You can see how it kind of comes down there as well. Oh, and Ripley stopped turning because the flamethrower is touching the backdrop. Carry on, Miss Ripley, as you were. But yeah, it's weathered. It has got a kind of grimy weathered effect to it. It is quite subtle. There's your Nostromo insignia badge. Very nice. And then you've got more insignia at the front. And nice buttons on the white shirt. The green t-shirt is nicely done. More tassely zip type situations on the chest area. And again, the Nostromo crew patch. We'll call it a patch. That's there, and that looks pretty neat. Can't believe I just said neat. Might have to cut that. Alright, so I'm going to use the Sony Cybershot on the tripod for this bit. I want to keep the camera still and just move the head sculpt around. There are certain angles, again, just like with the review I did for Jinner, so there was this kind of exact angle here, slightly askew looking upwards. Something about the head sculpts lately, especially the female ones, this angle is killing it, and I think you can agree that looks dead on Sigourney Weaver. This way too, slightly looking up, and this way to the side, again, fantastic. And dead on straight, still very good likeness, I'm still seeing nothing but Sigourney. Side profile. Just move my thumb. Very nice. Not seeing Michael Jackson at all. I just came up with that now because it just slightly reminded me of Bad. The Bad era Michael Jackson. Not that it looks like him, but just, you know, the hair. Kind of reminded me. I never actually got the DX Michael Jackson Bad figure. And I kind of should have, because that was a special music video for me growing up. I remember seeing the premiere of Bad on Top of the Pops back in the... Why am I talking about Bad right now? Let's just focus, shall we? Sorry guys, I'm just talking with you, sharing my thoughts. Right, looking down, let's bring her in a little bit. I just don't want it to go blurry. Just want to keep the light in the eyes as well. See the little glint when she's looking up, that helps as well. See how you get the glint of light in her pupil? Makes it look very realistic. Obviously we're losing that as we point her head down because the light source is coming in from this kind of angle. Yeah, very good. Teeth showing, like I said, I would have preferred a closed mouth on this one, although when you do go back and look at a lot of the kind of behind the scenes photography from the movie and a lot of just promotional pictures of Ripley, or Sigourney Weaver should I say, her mouth is usually like this, so to be fair, they did their homework. But I am very impressed with that. There is no denying that that is Sigourney Weaver. An absolutely fantastic head sculpt. Curious to see what they'll do with an Aliens version with shorter hair, and some people are in doubt as to whether or not Hot Toys will do an Aliens version of Ripley. I'd say it's a very strong chance. I mean, it's a hell of a movie. It's, you know, it's just as iconic as the first. Kind of appeals more to the action crowd. There wasn't much action in Alien, but it was kind of my kind of thing. I do prefer the first film. I like the creepy atmosphere, just the look of the movie. Incredible how well that film holds up. The sets, all the lighting, practical effects, the suit work with the creature. Excellent stuff. Alright, well, I hope you're satisfied. We're getting a good look at the Ripley head sculpt. That's pretty much every angle. You can go ahead and pause and just pause it on any angle you want, and then you can get a really good look at it. I'll try and think of every angle you're going to want to see. And that's it. Now if you want a quick articulation demo, I'll just get that out of the way for you. The first thing I always tend to check with these figures is, are they able to sit down? And I believe Ripley would definitely be able to sit down, because if her legs can do that, and we know the knees are usually going to be able to do that, then she's going to be able to sit in a chair pretty good. So I'll try and figure out some kind of sitting in a chair pose maybe, but we'll see. But at least she can do it. That's about, yeah, she could probably do box splits. That doesn't seem to be resisting me too much, it's just the jumpsuit itself. Ankle articulation, that seems to be alright. Got a bit of a, have we got pivot action? Yeah, we got some pivot action there. Yeah, that's no problem whatsoever. Good ankle movement. She could turn, although it seems to want to just go straight back again, but you can kind of get her to turn. It's not bad, a little bit. Arms, we saw the double bend elbow, so we know she can get her arm up like that. No problems there. Arms move forwards and obviously backwards. That's how I got the jumpsuit off. And top torso moves a little bit. That's quite stiff and kind of I don't know. I'm just thinking now, did they make a body especially for Ripley? But I'm not sure about that. Obviously Jyn Erso was quite a short figure, so she probably had her own body made. Let's have a look at this. Some nice detail there. But yeah, she doesn't have a weird butt. Sometimes these Hot Toys figures, especially the Ben Affleck Batman regular suit from BVS, he had a very strange behind, a very odd posterior. And I don't want to go too mad with these necks, because I find the more you mess with this, the paint starts to kind of peel away and can be very unsightly on these particular kind of necks for the male characters as well. I wish they'd figure out a way around that. That's why they keep warning you in the instructions, like when you're turning the head, make sure you kind of tilt the head up so that it's no longer touching the neck when you turn it left and right, because it will rip away that paint very easily, surprisingly easily, if I'm being honest. Got a couple of figures in the collection who have suffered from that kind of thing. Alright, let's get her back together. That was just a little articulation demo just to cover that. She's got great articulation, basically. That's the answer. Very good articulation for Ellen Ripley. Alright, so a little height comparison time, and as you can see, Wonder Woman is way taller than Sigourney Weaver here. Now the base, let me just come down a little bit. Wonder Woman's base is a little bit higher up than Ripley's, but we're talking fractional here, so it's not really worth taking that too much into account here, to be honest, because the height difference is pretty significant. And I'm not sure exactly how tall Sigourney Weaver was back in 1979, and I'm not too sure how tall Gal Gadot is now, but she certainly is towering over Ripley, and Wonder Woman's head is kind of tilted downwards as well, so yeah, but yeah, pretty significant height difference there, I must say. Wonder Woman is looking splendid today. Hello, Wonder Woman. Look at you, looking all fine. Just gonna go ahead and zoom in on you. Got you looking good. Hell yeah. Oh, Batman, what on earth are you doing? Alright, and now Harley Quinn. Again, she's not on a base, so there is a slight fractional difference there, but let's just pan out. And pretty much the same height, apparently. Margot Robbie and Sigourney Weaver. I don't know if that's actually the case in real life. I don't think it will be. But yeah, figure-wise, they're pretty much the same height as each other. So there is that little revelation for you. Okay, and now with Jyn Erso. Let's just zoom in a little bit there. Obviously, I don't want to mess with the pose with Jyn Erso. It took too long to find something I like, so I'm just going to leave her be. But she is obviously looking very much upward, because I found the likeness to Felicity Jones was strongest when she was looking up. But yeah, there's your height comparison. That looks a bit more like it, but I think Ripley would be a bit taller than that compared to our Felicity. So height wise, it seems to be all over the place, I ain't gonna lie to you. But she's tall enough, it's all good. As long as she's not taller than the big chap. It does seem bit overly lit. Let's just take the light out of the equation. But yeah, there's your height comparison between the big chap and Ripley. There they are level. Let me just zoom in a bit more. So yeah, I mean that seems kind of fair enough height-wise between these two. But I do think Ripley should be a little bit taller. But then I'd start to think that the alien should be a bit taller as well, if she's going to be catching up on him. But in general, I do think the Ripley figure does seem to be a little bit underscaled. But anyway, there you go. There's the big chap. I hope they do redo this, but only if they friggin' do it right. And like I said before, get rid of the rubber parts. There's no need for rubber on this guy. Just get rid of it. Figure out some way to perfect it. You almost got there with the Alien Warrior, because I love the bodysuit and the way that's done. But get rid of the rubber section mouth, because it's just not lasting for the long haul. Alright guys, it's time for my final thoughts and to wrap up the review, and to do so I'm going to go back to the pose that I think people responded to the best, and that was when Ripley was trying to coax Jonesy into the cat carrying case, unaware of course that something evil lurks behind. Sorry. Maybe there's a little bit too much light going on here. Let me just turn that off. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm using the little red light down here, always handy. Oh, hello Vampirella. Same pose as the statue. Interesting. Anyway, back on topic. That looks friggin' awesome. And again, it comes back to that thing where I just wish the background was wider, because the the sudden change in background really kills the vibe here. But if you can just imagine how that would look if the scene in the back continued to the edge of the screen, that looks bloody awesome. Let me just go ahead and zoom in a little bit. So you've got Jonesy, definitely looks best from that angle. Ripley, and then the alien behind her. Absolutely awesome. So, final thoughts are the Ripley figure, herself. That's what we're here to see. I would give that a solid 9 out of 10. I think it's a really, really well done figure. No real complaints at all. I wish she had come with a background, same as the big chap came with here. His background is awesome, very good for photography, but Ripley does not come with one. She just literally comes with her stand, Jonesy the cat, the carry case, the motion tracker, a couple of extra hands, and the flamethrower, which is very nice. And if you're curious about the other hands, they're just down here on the floor beside me. You've got some spare buttons in here. You've got the spare wrist pegs and some hands, but they're really not very exciting, so I didn't really bother going into too much detail with those. So yes, hopefully Hot Toys will go back and do a 2.0 on the big chap, and really just this time get it right, both in terms of the sculpt, get it accurate exactly to the film. I think they've had enough practice now to get that right, and also the materials used to produce the figure need to be on point this time, because I am getting sick of being let down with crappy materials not lasting, or standing the test of time. So if they can do that, I'll be very happy. But Ripley looks very good. Right at this angle here, the light has just caught her eyes, and that looks very, very cool. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. I've seen a few people saying they're going to pass on this and hold out for the Aliens version. If Aliens is the film you prefer out of Alien and Aliens, fair enough. Otherwise, I'd say you're being silly, because this is an absolute classic piece from one of the best films of all time. Many people, including myself, consider the first film to be the best. And I do love Aliens, but I can't help it. I do love the original film. Like I said before, I do view it as one of those perfect movies. Can't really find any fault with it myself. And I just love watching it. Every now and then, go back and revisit Alien and just soak up that atmosphere. So you can go ahead and jump on my Instagram account for all kinds of photography that's gone up and will continue to go up of these figures together, including this pose that you're seeing now. Plenty of pictures of that on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook as well. You'll find me on Instagram under DeanKnight333. You'll find me on Facebook under Dean Knight. Just look for the Night Vision Skull Batman logo thing. You'll find me easy enough. And if you feel like it, you can jump over onto Patreon and become one of my patrons, and you get access to exclusive kind of clips, behind the scenes videos of me filming this review, True Light review exclusives for Patreon, and just generally lots of little goodies. There's no pressure to do that. You still get your content on YouTube. It's just for the hardcore. I'll leave links to all of that stuff in the information section under the video. Hope you've enjoyed the review. Sideshow Freddy Krueger 1/6 scale figure coming very soon, along with a amazing piece that I'm building up from some of the most talented sculptors and painters and tailorers in the world to bring you the original Michael Myers, the 1978, is it? I think it's 78. I'm getting mixed up between 79 for Alien and 78 for Halloween. And I was thinking, the 70s were a great decade for movies, man. You had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Alien, like I just said, we got some great damn films. They're just all gone out of my head right now. You know what I'm talking about. We've got a lot of great films in the 70s, and Alien, probably the best. Alright, hope you enjoyed the review. Give it a solid 9 out of 10. That's Ellen Ripley from Alien by Hot Toys 1/6 scale. I'll see you guys real soon. Keep an eye out for me over the Halloween period. Like I say, Freddy Krueger on the way. Custom Michael Myers figure that's going to kill it is on the way very soon. And the battle damaged BVS Batman armored version, that's coming to me soon as well. So plenty of goodies coming on the channel. Stay tuned. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want to see on this particular piece. I'll bust that up for you. And thanks for all the support, guys, and great messages. If I haven't replied to any private messages on Facebook, I do try and keep up with all of them. If I haven't replied, give me another nudge, remind me, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for all your great support. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you real soon. Bye bye.